In this lesson, we're going to review some of the material that we've already gone over, add some additional details, as well as talk about some new items. First thing we'll do is talk about sticky tuplets, and then we'll move on to discussing inputting, extending, and stopping lines during node input. And then we'll continue by discussing additional keypad layouts that are shown right here. The way you enter tuplets is by first selecting the note value. So let's say, for example, we want to add an eighth note triplet. So we're going to add an eighth note triplet. And we'll start the triplet. We're going to go C, D, E. So now we've added that triplet. Now we need to use the shortcut Command 3 or come up here and select triplets and triplet. Right there, Command 3, you can see the shortcut. And it will turn that eighth note into an eighth note triplet. Then we can just go ahead and enter any of the additional notes that we want to complete that triplet. Now normally, when you come to this next note, it's not going to be a triplet. It's going to be, again, a regular eighth note. Let's say you wanted to enter a whole bar of triplets. How do you do that? You do that by using something called sticky tuplets. To enter sticky tuplets, first of all, you won't find it up in the ribbon. It's only accessible via the shortcut, which is Shift, Option, and K. So if you're in node input mode, like I am right now, you can see the caret there. All you need to do is, before you finish the last triplet in this case, or tuplet, just use the shortcut Shift, Option, K. You'll see that now there's a 3 over my caret, and any additional note now that I enter is going to continue in this tuplet, which in this case is a triplet. And this will just continue on from bar to bar. So this is an easy way to enter a significant number of triplets or tuplets. So the important thing to remember is that you use the shortcut Shift-Option-K to enter sticky tuplets and also Shift-Option-K to exit. So let's say, for example, that beat 2 here, I want to go to a straight eighth notes and not have a tuplet. So I'm going to turn sticky tuplets off, Shift-Option-K, and now I can continue to add notes that are no longer a tuplet. So that is sticky tuplets. You learned how to use lines, mainly hairpins and slurs, in earlier videos. There's also a shortcut way to enter the slurs or hairpins as you're entering the notes. You do that by just hitting, in this case, S for slur, to add the slur, and then continuing to add your notes. I'm going to just add some D's. And it'll continue to slur over those until you tell it to stop the slur. And you do that by going Shift and S. And now the next D that I hit, you'll see that the slur has not continued. Now if I want to add a hairpin, I can do the same thing. I can hit H and then continue to enter notes like this, and then I can use another shortcut, Shift and L, to end where the hairpin stops. I could do the same thing if I wanted a decrescendo. Could add a decrescendo and then add some more notes and then hit Shift and L to stop. So easy ways to add slurs and hairpins during note entry. In earlier lessons, you became familiar with the keypad layout, and you know that its shortcut is Option Command K. And however, we only dealt with the first keypad layout right here and also multiple voices. So now we're going to talk about the other keypad layouts which can be found here. There's really 3 ways you can get through and access all of these different keypad layouts. One is by clicking with the mouse. The second is by using your F keys, F7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And the third way is by using on a Mac the plus button on your 10 keypad. that will take you and move you one keypad to the right, and the minus button will take you right back to keypad number 1. Keypad number 2 offers you a few different things, some additional note values, some additional dots instead of just the one dot you have available here. It also offers you the capability of putting a note in parentheses and also adding grace notes. So for example, if we wanted this one to be, or if we wanted to add a grace note here in front of this note here, we could certainly do that. So these are grace notes. Usually these occur on the beat and these occur slightly before the beat. So for example, if we wanted to take this whole bar and maybe this was a cue that we wanted in a part, but didn't want it necessarily played by this specific instrument, we could change it to a cue by just selecting the notes and then hitting the enter key right here, which changes it to cue size notes. It's also possible to add grace notes during note entry, and you do that by using a shortcut, which is a semicolon or the /. So if I want to add some notes here, and I want this first one to be a D, and we'll say a D, but we want it to be a pickup note or a grace note, then I can hit semicolon and it turns that note into a grace note. Now I can continue to add additional notes. Now if I want the other type of grace note, I can certainly do that as well by hitting / while in note input mode and then entering the next note. / to get out, and now you can see it's entered both of these types of grace notes. So a pretty slick way of entering grace notes as you're in note input mode. Keypad Layout 3 is really about beams and tremolos. So you can see there's a variety of beaming options here, and then there's tremolos or also rolls if you're a percussionist or a snare drummer. That you can use as well. So let's talk a little bit about these. So we set up our beaming to show 4/8 notes and 4/8 notes. That's how our beaming is set here. If we want to change the beaming, maybe we want to have 2/8 notes, 3/8 notes, 3/8 notes. That's how we want them beamed. So ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da, something like that. We can do that by coming up here and selecting the notes and then changing the beaming. So I want 2. So I want it to end here, the beaming to end there, and then I want there to be 3 and the beaming to end. So there, now I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I've done that just by changing the beaming here on the keypad. So you can see there are a lot of beaming options that are available for you, and you can change how your notes are beamed right here on keypad 3. You can also create tremolos or rolls if you're a drummer, by selecting the note and then just adding the roll or the tremolo to that specific note. If you would like the performer to play a tremolo between two notes, you can certainly do that by selecting the note value, maybe a half note in this instance, and we'll make it a D. Coming out of note input mode into edit mode, selecting the tremolo that you want, and then hit enter, which allows you to tremolo with the next note. And then you select the next note and choose the note you want to tremolo with, so maybe an A. And then I can escape out. Now you can see I've got tremolo between a D and an A for this bar only. Keypad 4 and 5 are really about additional articulations. Maybe not as common, but still articulations you may need to access. So we have up and down bow markings, we have marcato accents, and other things located here. Under Keypad 5, you'll see that there are mainly jazz articulations. So if you're wanting to show bar repeats, or 2-bar repeat, or a 4-bar repeat, you certainly can do that by changing the notation here under Keypad number 5. You'll also have some doits and some spills and other things that are commonly found in jazz or pop music. Keypad 6 is where you're going to find additional accidentals that you may not see here on keypad 1, so naturals, sharps, and flats. So if you go up here to keypad 6, for example, if you're looking for a double sharp or a double flat or some other type of accidental that you're not seeing in keypad 1, this is where it will be located, is keypad number 6. So for example, if we want to make this note right here an E double flat, we can just select it, E double flat. Fairly straightforward and fairly simple.